Welcome to the Practice Podcast, conversations probing the nature of practice. I'm your host, Dave Fearon, co-author with Peter Vale of the digital book on Practice as a Way of Being. Find it at mylibrary.world. And now to our show. Well, folks, 20 years plus is like a blink, I think, as someone in my stage of life and career. But for the person with whom I'm speaking today, Jessica Rich, it's a big part of her whole life. And it was a little over 20 years ago that she started working with Kate Every and the early team of Walker Group, right?
Yep, the Walker Group.
The Walker Group. And here we are now. She is the co-CEO of the Walker Group. And I want to point out one thing before we start, Jess, and that is, when are you guys going to stop getting best place to work in Connecticut? It's just like, come on, not again.
I know. Well, I hope we never stop getting it, to be honest with you. But and every year it's a little bit different. You know, we learn a lot through the process.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something we're very, very proud of.
Well, since I focus on practice, I think that came to my mind because context is everything for any individual practitioner or a group of practitioners, like a team of IT specialists, because you are in the business of computers, computer support, and I'm sure it's even more elaborate than when I first met you and met the business, which it was over 20 years ago. But the best place to work in Connecticut, it's a very carefully worked out honor that happens annually, but you're not guaranteed the next year. And it provides a context of support, affirmation, love, and other elements that are intangible, as well as they'll come in and look at your facilities and all of that. What do you think is what do you think they pick up in your context for your company when they make this annual evaluation?
Well, you know, the contest has two parts. There's the employer survey. So we fill that out, me and my CFO, we fill out and talk a little bit about some of the benefits that we offer and the perks of being an employee here. But we could say whatever we want, really. That's kind of irrelevant. The real meat of it is the employee survey, which is done by a third party. It's all anonymous. And it's very, very detailed survey of what they ask our employees. And it's about everything from the company culture, their trust in leadership, communication, transparency, how they feel about their career development, how they feel about their pay, their benefits, the perks. So it's very, very comprehensive. And the themes that we see year over year, because we take the survey feedback, we get it, as an employer, we get a nice dashboard with all of the results, and again, anonymously. And the themes that we constantly see are that people who work with the Walker Group, they feel like they are part of something different. Again, our social enterprise model is a huge component of that. They love that we distribute our profits back to the community. They love that when we make decisions as a company, we all have a say in the company matters. They know at any point in time how the company is doing. We practice transparency. That's very important to us. And really, I'll be honest with you, I kind of hate when companies say, oh, we're a family, but I don't know how else to describe it because we take care of each other in a very deep and meaningful way. And it just comes through in everything that we do. We also, it's evident in the fact that we're a 50-person company in IT, which traditionally has a very high turnover rate. And we haven't lost a single employee in 3.5 years.
That's stunning.
So,
and it's not folks out there in the large world. It's not because there are no other opportunities in this little town of Farmington, Connecticut. It happens to be in the shadow of some of the biggest corporations that you could think of, all of which are hungry for the talent that Walker Group develops, not just
Right.
hires, but develops. And I'm sure that they would like to give, a little bit of stealing away. Hey, out in the parking lot, who's that guy talking
Right.
to Bob? Well, he's giving Bob the keys to a car,
Right. Yeah, we know we
and
hired
Bob's handing him back and saying no.
yeah, we have individual bodyguards for all of our employees now
I
to
know
protect
they
the
want
talent.
your people, and that just affirms maybe 63 years of my career in terms of as a teacher and a student of organization success, and that is the context means a lot, but the context isn't automatic. They're saying these things in the survey because they experience it.
Right.
Keyword experience on a day-to-day basis, how they feel when they show up. Give me a quick example of Bob, the guy that they tried to get to go over to work for the unnamed insurance company. What would Bob be saying to me if he were on the camera right now about his experience today? It's almost the end of the day.
So I think that what our employees really enjoy is that everybody here is really an owner of the business. While we're not a traditional ESOP, we have an alternative business model, which we can get into. But because of that, everybody's an owner. Everybody has authority. Our number one priority that we always say is to treat our people who work for us like gold and to trust them like they are the owner of the company. And if we do that, then they have the decision-making ability, they have the authority, they can make mistakes and not be worried about the ramifications because they can take some risks. So everybody feels very much in control of their day. They feel in control of how they work, how they interact with our clients, how they interact with their coworkers. And that gives that's a great deal of satisfaction. There's no micromanaging that comes into play here. Nobody is, on your case all day long. Did you hit your numbers? Did you do this? It's about the bigger picture.
And I think that's what Bob would be thinking about if he went to work in a much different culture. And
right.
They would be doing, look at your numbers and, oh yeah, that's Bob too, but look at the numbers. Numbers are important for a small firm like yours. But what I love is picturing Bob coming. I've been to your location, and it's wonderful, and walking through the doors. And do you still have the receptionist desk right there on the left as you come in the door? Or have you?
No, actually, we don't have that anymore. But it's a nice lobby area now. We've done some renovation.
In other words, the first person who Bob will see will be not only a coworker, but in a way a co-owner.
Yeah.
And so you're walking through. You've got your Starbucks, or you guys have coffee there. But
yes.
You always have to have the one to get you, from here to the business. And you look around and feeling like, wow, look at us. Heads of people's moving around, people are chatting. I assume it's fairly quiet. Or is it buzzy?
It depends on the day, because we have hybrid working now too,
Right.
Like today, Tuesdays are a very popular day in the office. So there's a buzz going on. There's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of laughter, a lot of collaboration. So, and then some days are a little more quiet.
Yeah. Well, so yay, Bob, and yay, you. How do you, and I'm sorry, I should have checked, remember your co-CEO's name. Is his name Bob?
No, his name's not Bob. Todd Bailey.
I remember. Yeah, I've met him. And you guys seem to be really just comfortable people for if anything else. But how do you and he keep the creative tension in the business? Because of automation and a lot of other reasons, quite a lot of what your staff would have been doing even 5 years ago is evolved and it's into something else. And you always want to be, and your customers are out there looking into other stuff now. And so you've got to be right on that cutting edge. On the other hand, you've got to be steady Eddie and very reliable in terms of your contract. So what's a typical conversation that you two have about the tenor of the business?
Yeah, that's a great question. Something we've been talking a lot about in the last couple of years, really the last year, because we've always been a small company. We've always been between 40 and 60 employees, and we're right bumping up against 50 right now. And we really we love this size of the business. We still know everything of we know all of our coworkers. Where our structure is pretty flat. We don't have a lot of layers to management, so we're very nimble. We're very lean. We can do a lot, but once you start to get over 50 employees, everything gets complicated. You have to add extra layers of management. And so I'm not saying we don't want to grow. Of course, good growth is important as well, but there's a lot of ways that we can slow the growth in headcount while maintaining growth in profitability or other measurements of financial success. So talk about automation a lot. We talk about creating capacity through automation. And really what our goal is, and especially in this world of AI being every conversation that everybody's having around everything, we've actually just created a sort of a task force within Walker called the AI Ambassadors, and it's a cross-departmental group of people who are looking for opportunities to leverage AI. But very specifically, the true north that we have in mind here is we want to leverage technology and AI and automation so that our people can be more human, right? So we want to make sure that all of those mundane tasks that we do every day that take up our time, we can start to automate those more and more, which we already have, but we want to continue that so that they can connect with our clients differently. They can take our clients out to lunch. They can stop by their office and spend time with them. We can continue to do on-site visits as an IT company. Most IT companies across the world, everything's remote now. There's no human connection. And we don't ever want to lose that. But without keeping up with automation and efficiency, we won't be able to afford to do all of those things anymore. So that's why we're so focused on it, because we want to keep our people being as human as possible, the things that only humans can do.
Yeah. Oh man, you just wrote my next book. At my age, it's only a whim. but again, the theme of the podcast and other things that I put out there in social media, as well as even way back when I was teaching at your neighboring university, Central, that was my pitch to my students. How are you going to build a life? And it's going to be fundamentally your humanity and your ability to learn, and not just learn by study, which is one way, but to be learning constantly in every situation, particularly since you'll be serving customers. Most jobs you're going to have is you've got to be engaged with customers, in conversation with customers, and picking up not just the literal facts of what they're saying, but opening yourself up to how we can be helpful, really helpful to this customer, and therefore his or her business. That's the human thing. And I'm pretty sure that Bob's good at it.
Yeah. Well, we pride ourselves in the type of people we hire, because you can hire for skill all day long, but we can teach that. We need people who, down to the core, want to connect with other people and be helpers.
Yeah, and you're right. You not only can you hire train to the skill, but if they came in with a bunch of, back in not too long ago, was I can write Fortran, or I can, I know hard mainframes or whatever, and because from their generation of learning, that's what they had. And they had a lot of knowledge in that, and that went away. So there's this point of never being obsolete in what you know, and the only way you do that is to thank your knowledge that you have now, but recognize you may have to say goodbye to it tomorrow.
Right.
And can you think of an instant recently, Jess, where you thought you guys had the product that you could put out to your customers, and then boom, something changed in the market, or the technology, or the design, and now you've got to be ramping up on something else that your business customers may need.
Yeah, it's always changing. It changes so rapidly. I mean, cybersecurity is probably where we spend obviously most of our time because it's the biggest threat to all of our customers right now.
Yes.
It's critical that we keep them secure. So it felt like years ago we were always chasing the best product, right? Oh, this product's going to make you secure. No, this product's going to make you secure. Oh, next month another one comes out. And we know now that security is not a product. It's not a collection of products.
Human behavior.
Yeah, it's a lot of human behavior, and it's a multi-posture approach, right?
Yeah.
So it's multi-level security is. So if you're just constantly chasing the product, you're never going to catch up. Right. So that does happen all the time, and that's why you have to be very careful where you put your investments, where you put your effort. And it's always it's a battle of spending enough time on the R&D aspect of it as well, because just when you get up to speed on something, the next best thing comes out. So it just never ends.
Well, you are not you don't originate, and maybe you do originate software, and I'm just not aware of it. But you count on the sourcing of the softwares, and so you have to keep an educated eye on where the various developments are coming, and gauge them against how you could use them internally and for your customers. But I'm wondering about how can you. This is a weird question. It just popped into my head. Since human is where your focus is, how do you grow humans? I mean, I can tell you how to. You can teach a guy to go out to Microsoft and take the 5-day course or whatever. But how can you say make yourself more human?
So like I said, I think that really comes in very much from the beginning. When we're looking to add people to the team, we really want to understand what drives them. What drives them? What do they love to do? And what are the skills they already have? Communication skills, emotional intelligence, empathy, a true, genuine care for other people. And there's plenty of people that we meet who they don't fit that mold. They might be very skilled in IT or in digital marketing, but they don't have, that's just not who they are naturally. And so they're likely not going to be a good fit. But if we have that foundation, then it's really just immersing them in our culture and modeling the way. All of our leaders here, Todd and I have been here again since we were literal children.
Famous 20 plus years.
Yeah, 22 years. And our VP of Client Experience is 20 years this year, and she's younger than me. Our project success manager, our VP of support services, we've all grown up with the business, and so we model the way, and we are creating at every level. We showcase how we want to be with our clients, what we expect of each other. We have a very well-defined culture guide at Walker, and it's next level to just the core values that are written on the wall when you walk in.
On the wall, yeah.
Right. Core values, honesty, integrity. Okay, well, how do you be honesty, right? Yeah. I don't know how to be. So the culture guide was written by the employees.
Wow.
And it is a series of behaviors that we expect of each other that align with our core values, but it's very, very detailed as it's behavioral. So we use that in the interview process. We use that in the review process when we're giving each other feedback and kudos and areas for development, because they're behaviorals. They're very easy to relate to. And
that would be an example of one. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm curious. Rather than honesty is our policy, what do you say? Be honest or
no? Okay, so hold on. Let me just pull it up real quick. I'll read you.
Yeah, great.
Something. Hold on. Okay, so our culture guide. So we have, we call our core values business driving principles. But anyway, so integrity is one of ours. Okay, usually that's a core value. So under integrity, we have, I will accept responsibility for outcomes, both good and bad, celebrating the wins and owning mistakes with a willingness to fix them. That's one behavior under integrity. I will set proper and clear expectations, set doable timelines, and follow through on commitments. I'm committing to doing what I say I will do. So these are examples of things under integrity that are behavioral, that are not just these abstract words that don't mean anything. And again, the culture guide is about 20 different behavior statements.
Yeah, and the "I will" part, it's a promise.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then you can measure it against what you see them doing. So,
Right.
Oh, I will, but now you seem to be doing this and that. I think it's wonderful. And again, I get your idea about being very concerned about the numbers of people who constitute Walker Group, because the intensity of my sense of the intensity of those sets of promises are right up front in the day-to-day work of the company. As you grow out to, let's acquire 2 businesses, and how a lot of companies in quotes grow, whatever those original promises were, they get diluted over time, and then they get restated, and the next thing you know, you've acquired a company, 2 companies down from you, and it's got the same name as your business, only who are these people?
Exactly. Right. Right.
So I mean, I've seen that pattern over the years, having worked in a business school all these years, and that, and I'd hear that business, in order to grow, we're going to acquire, and I go, oh dear.
I know. I mean, it's just the way of the world right now. Is, I mean, across all industries, but our industry, we see it all the time.
I bet. Yeah, they're just buying people.
They're just buying each other up, buying contracts, buying people. And I mean, sure, if your goal is to maximize value and sell, like, it's what you have to do. It's a smart way to do it. But, the client experience is not great when that happens. And the employee experience is even worse. So we, with our business model being a perpetual purpose trust-owned company, our employees also enjoy the fact that we can't be sold. So they're not ever going to walk into work and hear, oh, guess what? We have a new owner.
And their next door neighbor just heard that yesterday. And, and so, yeah, that's really, really a tremendous asset.
It is.
The fact that you worked on that, so it became that sort of unique company. I wish, as we worked on it when we were building up Reset, Connecticut Social Enterprise Trust, we kind of wished that every company would provide that kind of stability.
I know.
And that concern for the human aspect of the business. But, it's a work in progress.
Well, it is. And we talk a lot about it. We talk a lot about our model, and not with the intention of, oh, this is a model that's great for everyone, because it's not.
Right. No, it's very hard to manage, because you have to have such trust in people.
You do. However, what our goal for talking about it is that, we do believe that most businesses today have a heart, especially small businesses. They always have some way of doing good. They offer paid community service days. That's very common now. They like to do charity things as a group. It's wonderful. But if our goal of talking about it is, if we can influence as many business owners as possible to really make this a little bit more of a focus and to make more of a commitment to it. You don't have to change your whole business model. You don't have to rewrite your articles of incorporation and change everything. But how about just a promise to you and your team that we're going to be committed to this cause or to this charity or something like that, and make it a part of your culture, not just a financial obligation. You breed goodwill and good people when you do that.
And everybody wins. It's great.
Right.
As I'm looking at the last little bit of our time budget, and I would love to do this. Like, can we book a whole day to do this? Because because I have the benefit of running all of these scenarios in the back of my head that I've acquired over the many, many years. And check, that works. Best company to work for, check. Culture is where the best human education occurs, check. And so you're doing it right. Look at the future for you and Todd. I suspect by now we've talked about Bob being headhunted in the parking lot, but wouldn't there be some people who would want to hire you out
Yeah, I mean, won't say it's never come up. I think for me personally, and I think Todd would very much say the same, I cannot even imagine working in a traditional company. I mean, again, I've been here pretty much my entire working career outside of my first 2 years. And not working for a social enterprise, not working for a mission-driven company, I don't know how I could do it. I really don't. I mean, traditional corporate America just doesn't seem like a fit for me.
No.
So at this point, it's been 22 years. I've definitely got some life left in me still.
Yes, you do.
But my focus right now, and Todd is feeling the same way, is we need to make sure that we are always training and grooming, and that's not really the right word that I want, but and really just demonstrating for the next generation. There are things that I'm still involved with now that I'm like, nope, I really need to pass this off for the betterment of the company.
So they can learn, yeah.
So that they can learn, because there will be a day that, I'll want to retire someday. I don't know. But, that's all it's about is whatever happens at the Walker Group, whether we remain an IT services company and digital marketing firm, or whether we start selling flashlights, I don't really care. I care about our heart. I care about our mission. I care about the fact that we are committed to being a social enterprise, that we're committed to giving back to the community and our employees, and that we maintain a best place to work. So if I can pass on the heart, that's all that I care about.
That's a great answer, Jess. And it reminded me of one book called Built to Last, which you might recall Jim Collins had some years back. And one of the findings of the companies, the 100-year companies, which is what they focused on, was just what you said. Yes, we are known for our cash registers,
Right.
But what we are is we're ready with the people we have now, and we could turn on a dime and start doing something altogether different because we have created this organization of people who are willing and able to change. And the other thing you said is, your promise is permanent, right? You used the word permanent. And common behavior these days with CEOs is they aren't permanent at all.
Right.
It's the 3 to 5 year span, and then they sell themselves off to another company. I'm being very cynical, but I saw it too much. I saw a great company just down the road from you that always grew its leadership from the inside out. I won't name them, but they make tools.
Okay. Got it.
And it reached a point where, of course, they had to change and grow for the industry they were in order to be a global distributor of what they make. But it sort of became, who's on deck right now running the company, and he or she will be gone soon. And I don't think that would make a bit of sense with the company you're in. And you could be there well past the point where you're my age. You could.
Yeah.
Because of the business you're growing around you. You can grow with it. If I were still in a business in your chair at my age, I could still do a lot. So it's not that's another thing we've aged people, and we say, oh no, they're not likely to be able to run a fast-paced changing business. Well, baloney. So you can be with that company, and then over just generations of your growth, and you maybe take some time off to have sabbaticals here and there, but basically you give to me in this conversation so much hope for the people not only within your walls or in their remote locations, but for your customers. Because if I were thinking, geez, I have got a lot at stake with my competing capabilities. I've got a lot at stake in terms of my reputation in digital marketing, a lot at stake. And I don't want to keep pulling out and writing new contacts with other people and other strangers, or having someone come in and say, we can do it for $500 or $5,000 less, and keep jumping that into those pits. So I want a good, stable company led by wonderful people, and who will constantly surprise me with what they can do for me next.
Yeah.
Is that the Walker Group?
That is what we strive to be, for sure. I mean, we have clients that have worked with us for 25 years. We have a client appreciation event. We just celebrated 10, 15, 20, 25-year anniversaries. And, that's what they constantly say is it's a different feel. They're not having this revolving door of people involved in their account. They'll have the same team on their account for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years. There's accounts that I used to be the engineer on back in 2003, and now I'm the co-CEO, and I'm still going to lunches with them and things like that. So
That's nice.
they do see that we are different. And again, if I'm a business and I know IT is an investment and I need to work with a partner on it, I think I'd rather work with a company who I know is going to do good things when they're successful and give back to the community around us. And that is something that we have really heard more and more over the last several years from our clients, that they appreciate it. They'll even come and do community service with us sometimes, which is really fun too. So we really try to build that true relationship and partnership. So far so good. It's not without the ups and downs, but we're very pleased with where we are.
I would say, in conclusion, so far, very good.
Yes.
Thank you. This has been great.
Well, thank you, Dave. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's been fun talking.
Thank you for listening to the Practice Podcast, conversations probing the nature of practice. If you'd like to hear more, go to Automatic, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or YouTube. And please consider purchasing our book on practice as a way of being at mylibrary.world. It's a digital book with lots of features that you do not see in a conventional book. So once again, thank you, and I look forward to you listening again.